Blake Griffin, he exploded for 44 points against the Clippers. Can he duplicate that performance? Pistons are 2-8 when he scores less than 20. Pistons host Orlando, who have lost 4 straight on the road tonight on League Pass. And Kawhi Leonard. Can the third game live up to the excitement and drama the first 2 contests gave us? The last time we saw these two, they needed bonus basketball, and the C's won in overtime. Claus led the Raptors to the best start in team history. They're 5-0 when he scores at least 35 or more. You catch that one at 8 p.m. on ESPN. And now we go to Houston, Toyota Center. The Nets visit the Rockets. James Harden has managed to climb up Sekou's MVP ladder.
That rim on fire still?
It still is. He delivered his 12th 40-point game of his career Monday versus Memphis. Will the Bearded one continue to set records? We will see. What's good, NBA fans? Ro Parrish here. You are now officially rocking with the best alongside NBA.com Sekou Smith. Looking good as usual. No glasses tonight.
Good to see you. I got him over here on standby.
Just in case, ready to go.
I need him.
And the man that needs no introduction, Derek Fisher, 5-time champion, head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. Glad to have you on Game Time.
Appreciate it, Ro. Good to be with you guys, man.
Good to be here. The Boston Celtics, we see what's going on. They lost 3 straight. Seems like they're having problems. They had the plethora of all this talent at the beginning of the season, an embarrassment of riches. Fish, it seems like things are all right. What has to change with Boston as they move forward?
He said plethora.
You write these down. I'm gonna start writing.
Using these SAT words.
Keep the list now.
Oh man, no, I think the Celtics, man, almost an embarrassment of riches in terms of the talent, the versatility, all these guys at various positions that can do so many things. And they've had a hard time finding room for everybody to really feel like this is a place for me. I can fit in here and reach my fullest potential. And I think that's chipped away at just some of their character and the way they usually like to play the game. And they've had some challenges so far.
Yeah, I think Fish knows about this better than anybody. Sometimes when you got this much talent, it's more about your leadership than it is just raw talent. And right now, to me, they're having a crisis of leadership. They're not sure if the guy doing all the talking is really the leader in that locker room. And to me, that's what they got to find out between now and really the trade deadline and right after the All-Star break if they want to get on the right kind of vibe going into the stretch run of the season.
Definitely had some leadership issues over the last couple of games, over the last 3, in fact. It's been a major problem when you look at it. You go to Miami. We all know what happens in South Beach, but D-Wade put on a show. He had 19 points. They knock out the Boston Celtics, some problems on the sideline as well. And then you go down to Orlando, some confusion perhaps on the play that was drawn on the timeout. Kyrie took some issue, came immediately and approached his teammate, had something to say. And, of course, against Brooklyn, Kyrie doesn't play. Boston can't get it done on the road. Things just aren't going as planned in Boston. If you take a look at the numbers, looking at over the last 3 games, a little over 100 points. Their 3-point percentage is down. Rebound differential is not good at all. Jeff Van Gundy was on 10 Before Tip speaking about the Celtics and their latest woes.
Raptors Celtics tonight, first game of the ESPN doubleheader at 8 Eastern. Jeff Van Gundy on the call and kind enough to join us tonight. And we've got questions for Jeff Van Gundy. Coach, of all the things we've discussed during this roller coaster start for Boston this season, as you prepared for this game, can you put your finger on what the Celtics' biggest issue is that you'd be concerned about during the stretch run of the season?
Well, I think this is typical of teams that lose in the conference finals. You watch both Houston and Boston get off to slow starts. I think you have this hangover, subconscious hangover. So I think that contributed to the slower start. And then I think, when you have so much depth, I think that can get in the way of performance. So as they've had these minor injuries, I think it's actually helped them play better. I mean, they were 15-5 over the stretch of 20 after they started 10-10. But and Brad Stevens bugging me as I'm trying to do an interview. Oh, you're offering me a chocolate chip cookie? Let me have that thing. Thank you very much. Anyway, so I think they had, they had those ups and downs early. They got it together, 15-5. But then, the losing streak on the last, on the last road trip, was troubling, I'm sure, for them. And I think they'll bounce back in a big way tonight.
How much do you sense that Kyrie Irving is not only trying to prove, as he has, he can be clutch in the biggest moments on the biggest stage, but that he also can lead a team?
See, I didn't take his comments after the game as leadership. I think he couched it with what the team has to do different, experience, this and that. And I think really what he's wanted to say was, please give me the ball at the end of games. I want to finish it off, right? Because I'm the best player. But Jason Tatum, I would hope, would have the same mentality that, hey, Gordon Hayward, that was a good decision. Throw me the ball. I can get us a bucket down late, too. So I don't think necessarily Irving was trying to show leadership. I think he was trying to win the game. He was frustrated the ball didn't come his way.
Coach, last one for you on the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard says he would like to play tonight and tomorrow, which would mark the first time all season he's played in a back-to-back. Would that be a significant step for you in your mind if he indeed is able to play in these back-to-backs?
I'm the wrong guy to ask about all this back-to-back and rest, and I don't get it. I think if you're a player and you're healthy, you should play in the games. I think it would be great for his team. But you know what's interesting? He's their best player, but I'm not so sure Kyle Lowry isn't their most important player. They have actually been very, very successful when Leonard hasn't played. And so I think it's imperative that Leonard keep playing at this high level that he's played at all year. But Kyle Lowry, when they head to the playoffs, I'm not sure he's not their most important player.
We had questions. Now we've got the answers. Jeff Van Gundy, good luck on the broadcast tonight.
And I got my chocolate chip cookie from Brad.
Gotta love Jeff Van Gundy. Cheat day underway, getting the cookie. But looking at the Celtics, earlier in the day, you hear Scary Terry talk about the team is too talented for their own good. Now, when you hear a statement like that, number one, what does it tell you about his mentality and where they are right now as a team when they have that problem?
Well, I mean, I get what he's saying. I understand what he means by that, is that they have, as you mentioned earlier, just an embarrassment of riches when it comes to quality depth. But I hope what he's saying is they're too talented to be performing like this, that they have too much talent to be as uneven as they've been. And again, I don't know, maybe we are not giving enough credence to the fact that injuries to key people like Al Horford, Aaron Baines, and some other guys has led to an inability to find a consistent rhythm throughout the course of this season. But if you're telling me that you got too much raw talent, then apparently you have not watched the NBA Finals the last few years. Raw talent and the cohesion of that talent is what's won the Golden State Warriors 3 championships in the last 4 years. So there can be no situation in my eyes where you have too much talent. You just better know how to use it and how to channel it.
Yes, and I think that that's what he was implying. Obviously, we're speculating. Terry can answer best. But I think he was implying that we're too talented for our own good along the lines of we are not handling that responsibility the right way. It's too much for us. We're not doing what we're supposed to do with this talent. And so sometimes when you add that for your own good, unfortunately, you sometimes have to learn the hard way. And so you've seen the Celtics struggle with the injuries, of course, but you've seen them struggle. They've had some tough nights. They've had some minor fracturing in the locker room from a leadership standpoint, I would say, but it's not too late. They're still sitting at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. And when you start to think about getting healthy, sometimes these adverse situations can force a group to come closer together, and they have that opportunity.
When you talk about bringing a group closer together, it seemed like the situation with Kyrie the other day, it seems like what he knows from Cleveland, watching LeBron and how LeBron chose the lead, it seems that that's rubbed off. It seems like there's a direct parallel between what we saw when he was in Cleveland and what he's showing right now in Boston. Talk about the leadership or lack thereof coming from Kyrie.
Well, I think he's admitted to not fully understanding how to play the role that he is attempting to assume right now. Being the franchise guy, the fourth quarter guy, the ball's going to go through him, the wins and losses are going to be on his shoulders. He hasn't been in this position before, on top of the fact that he's had some injuries and he's been in and out of the lineup. So he's still exploring, which is why he sought the trade in the first place. He's still exploring how to become the best version of himself. At the same time, you have a roster full of guys that are really capable that are also going through that process. And so Boston has some interesting things to manage. Brad Stevens' job isn't easy. Danny Ainge's job isn't easy. But I'd rather have the problems they have than not.
Well, before we just real quickly, is this a situation where there's a move that needs to be made when you have all this talent, the development of the players? It seems like their young players hasn't been as good as they maybe had wanted to this season.
I think that's the logical next step in the minds of most folks like us. Luckily, Danny Ainge is an old hand at this. There will be no panic in Boston. Certainly not at the management level. I don't know what you could put in front of Danny Ainge short of a unibrowed big man from New Orleans that would even make him consider making a change with some of this young talent. You got to remember, Jason Tatum is in his second season. You know, Jaylen Brown is just scratching the surface of his NBA career. These guys are young. There should be bumps in the road. If they thought last year's magic carpet ride to the conference finals was going to be an every-year occurrence without any bumps, then they clearly would have been delusional. This is a league where you earn your keep. They're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to go through the struggles, the adversity, whatever it is, but stick together through that. And I think Danny Ainge certainly understands that. Brad Stevens surely understands it. And that roster is going to learn that lesson the hard way, maybe.
And real quickly, Ro, when you have guys of character, you can ride that out. And Boston specifically has drafted and developed guys of character that can fight through this type of things.
Well, a team that's had plenty of character and that's stuck together is the Toronto Raptors. You see they sit atop of the Eastern Conference, 33 wins. Really, in my personal opinion, flying under the radar in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot of talk about the 76ers. Of course, we talked about the Celtics, Giannis, and the Bucks. But it seems like the Toronto Raptors, off to the best start in franchise history, it seems like they have things pretty much all figured out.
But it's just the least dramatic.
That is true.
Of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference, to me, Indiana and Toronto are the ones where you don't have question marks about the makeup of the team or the personalities and how they fit. They're all business. And for them to go through what they went through in the offseason, changing the coach of the year out, losing a guy like DeMar DeRozan who had been a face of the franchise for all these seasons, they would have a better excuse than anybody in the East to come back questioning the makeup of this group and wondering who and what they are. They've handled it beautifully. Nick Nurse has been spectacular. Kawhi Leonard has adjusted much better than anybody could have imagined when you talk about him just going in and grinding day after day. And Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, you see that right down. We call that an official beatdown. Giving the team the business. You can go into many ways. That 83 points was a season high in the first half. The 149 points was a season high. They just got numbers, blew them out by 20 on the boards. I mean, just some impressive numbers. K-Mac, you just said 40 assists. And tonight, we have Mr. Triple-Double himself. That's right, B. Simmons with us. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, tonight, 7 to 10, 8 defensive rebounds. You missed the triple-double by one assist. They should trade you. Your career is done. Why'd you miss that? But hey, you're such a joy to watch. And for our fans, especially young players at home, what is the most enjoyable part of playing in the NBA?
I think for me, getting an opportunity to get better every day. You know, there's so many games, you know, back-to-backs, and you're just on the road so much. It's like you have one bad game, and then, you know, the next night you have another game to, you know, kind of redeem yourself and try and get better. So I think just being able to play every day and do what I love every day, that's the best part for me.
You know, Ben, you guys started off and you dominated the paint. You had Joel Embiid going. You were driving in there. You guys just collapsed their entire defense and played inside out. And all those threes opened up. You guys shot the three ball very well tonight. But, you know, when you guys play like that, I just think you're so hard to beat. Every once in a while, and I watch you guys a lot. I know Brett Brown, Chris Babcock's a good friend of mine, your coaches. And so I get frustrated when you guys don't play that way. When you guys just play inside out like that, totally attacking the paint at first. How do you feel about that when you play like that, and you get the sense that you got to play like that more?
Definitely, I understand what you're saying completely. I think, you know, we kind of get a rhythm. We have guys who are used to running down the floor, and sometimes we slow it down. But at times we kind of need to slow it down and make sure we're taking care of the ball and trying to get into a rhythm. But, you know, I love the way we play. You know, guys can run the floor, get open shots, transition buckets, and I think we're getting a lot better at that.
Yeah, no, I do too. And like I say, I love when you guys play like this. The other question is, you know, you're the point guard, you get the ball in your hands a lot, you get a lot of assists. Has Joel Embiid just taken up more paint lately? It looks like when I watch him play, he's been going in and getting 2 feet in the paint and demanding the ball down low a lot more.
I tell him every time he runs down and he posts up, I'm going to throw it to him. I think sometimes he needs a reminder of, you know, how strong he is down there and how efficient he is. Sometimes he likes to shoot the 3 ball. But he's so efficient down there. We'd love to see him post up every time, you know, do what he does best.
You know, I'm going to say some names here, and I know people are either going to go in uproar or kill me, but your game, when I think about your game, I think Magic, I think Bron attacking the basket, I think Len Bias, I think Pippen. And what I mean by that is your size, your body type, the way you play. If you had to critique yourself and say next year and the year after I'm coming back better in these areas, being a point guard, you know, what would you say that your next jump is going to be, or something that you're working on just to continue the way that you're going on this upward trend of playing? What do you work on to improve over the summer?
I think just knocking down shots and being a consistent shooter in terms of just shooting the ball when I am open and taking more shots. And I think just getting comfortable in certain areas on the floor.
You know, tonight was one of those games where Jimmy's playing against his old team and all kinds of stuff happened when he left there. Yeah. Was there any talk in the locker room about, man, let's go get this one, or did you guys as a group say anything to each other?
You know, we know we needed this game, and I think everybody was kind of locked in mentally. I saw Jimmy before the game; he was definitely locked in. But I think, you know, we always have the same mindset no matter who we play. We got to come out and get wins.
We're going to let you go, B. Simmons, but we usually see you warming up with your headphones on, man. Who are you listening to today?
It depends who's there. I like Gunna.
Okay.
He's nice. Oh, little baby, yep.
All right, that's what's up, man. Hey, thank you so much for joining this great game tonight, and we're a big fan of yours. Always enjoy watching you play. That's the man, Ben Simmons.
Tell Joel, more paint, more paint, more paint. Tell Mikhail.
Gotcha. I'm going to tell him right now. Hold on, I'm telling him.
That's right. That's the man, Ben Simmons, and he's going back to